Let me start with a simple question, but it's uncomfortable if you really think about it. Why do some people study hard, get degrees, follow all the right steps, and still live paycheck to paycheck? And why do others, who may not even have strong academic backgrounds, end up building wealth and living with more freedom? It's not luck. It's not genius. And it's not even about working harder. Most of the time, it comes down to one thing: how you think. And that's exactly what the introduction of Rich Dad, Poor Dad is trying to shift. Not just how you make money, but how you see money. Let me explain it to you like a real life experience, not just a book summary. The author grew up with two fathers, not literally, but mentally. One was highly educated, intelligent, respected, believed in school, degrees, job security. The other wasn't academically accomplished, but understood money, understood systems, and knew how to make money work for him. Both were right, but they were living in completely different worlds. The poor dad would say, study hard, get a degree, find a stable job. The rich dad would say, learn how money works before you spend your life working for it. And that's where the first real shift happens. From a young age, most of us are programmed with one belief. If you want to survive, you have to work. If you want a better life, you have to work harder. But this book flips that idea completely. Not everyone works for the same reason. And some people eventually stop working because their money starts working for them. Let me be honest with you for a second. This might sound a bit harsh, but it's often true. Most people don't have a money problem. They have a money understanding problem. Let me give you a real life example. There's a guy I know. Let's call him Sam. Sam studied engineering, graduated with top grades, got a solid job. Good salary, promotions over time. After a few years, he bought a car on payments. Then upgraded his apartment because it matched his level now. More expenses, more pressure, more stress. From the outside, his life looks successful. But inside, he's trapped. Every time his income increases, his expenses increase faster. Every time he works harder, he needs money more. That cycle has a name: the rat race. You work to pay bills. You pay bills to survive. And you survive just to keep working. Years go by, and nothing really changes. Now, let's look at someone else. A simple man. Most people think they're buying assets when they're actually buying liabilities. A new car? Usually a liability. A big house with a long mortgage? Often a liability. Expensive things that make you feel successful? In many cases, liabilities. Not because they're bad, but because they continuously drain your money. The rich mindset focuses on one thing. Before you buy luxuries, build assets. Why? Because assets are what give you freedom later. Let's go back to Ahmed. Instead of spending everything, he started putting aside a small portion of his income and used it to build something. A small side business, a partnership, a simple investment. He didn't become rich overnight, but over time, he built income that didn't depend entirely on his time. And that's the real difference. The poor mindset sells time for money. The rich mindset builds systems that generate money even when you're not working. Let me be very clear. The issue isn't that people are wrong. The issue is they were never taught another option. School teaches you how to be a good employee, but it doesn't teach you how money actually works. No one teaches you How to tell the difference between an asset and a liability. How to evaluate an opportunity. How to manage risk. How to build income outside of a job. And that's not your fault. But if you stay stuck in the same thinking, it becomes your responsibility. Let's talk about something deeper for a moment. Why are people afraid of money? Not money itself, but the fear of losing it. That fear pushes people towards safety. And safety usually means a stable job, a guaranteed paycheck. But here's the irony. That safety can sometimes be the biggest risk because you're depending on one source. And if it disappears, everything collapses. The rich mindset sees risk differently. The real risk is not learning, not growing, not changing your thinking. Let me give you a line worth thinking about. The problem isn't that you don't have money. The problem is you don't have the understanding to keep it. Some people make a lot and lose even more. Others start with little and build something meaningful. The difference isn't income. It's mindset. Here's a simple everyday situation. One person gets paid and immediately thinks, what can I buy? Another person gets paid and thinks, what can I build? Same money, completely different outcomes. That's the shift this book is trying to plant in your mind. To stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like a builder. You don't need to start big. In fact, most people fail because they try to jump too fast. Start simple. Track your spending. Ask yourself, is this an asset or a liability? Learn basic investing, even with small amounts. Read, not to collect information, but to reshape your thinking. And most importantly, allow yourself to make mistakes. Because fear of failure is what keeps most people stuck. The rich don't avoid failure, they avoid staying the same. Let me leave you with something quiet, but real. Maybe you're not wealthy right now. Maybe your situation is average or even difficult. But here's the truth you need to face. Your financial future will not change until your thinking does. Not because thinking alone is enough, but because it's where everything begins. Every financial decision you make starts with a thought, and every thought is shaped by how you were taught to see money. So ask yourself tonight, which father is living inside you? Are you repeating ideas of safety and fear? Or are you starting to think differently, even if it feels uncomfortable? Because in the end, it's not about how much you make. It's about who you become when it comes to money. And that is something you can start changing today.